So I saw this manga trending on Twitter for what seemed to be all the wrong reasons. I was like, what's going on with this shit? It looked very odd. People was complaining about whatever. Seemed like it was a lot of controversy. So I saw my boy, friend of the channel, the Master Man, had dropped a video on the shonen manga. I don't really know much about it. We gonna see what he got to say. We gonna see how crazy this manga really is.
I want you to do me a small favor and imagine the premise is a bomb. Just go with it. This time, the author decided that trying to defuse the bomb wouldn't be captivating enough.
Okay.
He decided to put on a blindfold, take a couple shots of proper 12 Irish whiskey, spin around a few times, and then go for the blue one. That's this manga, Drama Queen. Despite only having one chapter, this has already brought up quite a bit of discussion, and there are some possibilities I want to point out, a problem I typically see when it comes to how we discuss the series, and the pros and cons of what I would call a pretty crazy and controversial first chapter. Drama Queen is a
Hold on, let me see.
manga.
Let me see what was even just on that page. There's nothing false about it. I'm clearly bleeding. Excuse my partner. Please accept my apology instead. What's going on? Well, what is that? What is it? I don't know. It is interesting because, like, I don't know. A lot of controversy just seems to come up with manga consistently. Like, we even seen it with, like, Don Da Don. No, this isn't manga, but it's anime. Like, with the recent episode 9. Granted, I think people thought it was going to be worse than it is because you saw, like, how it was. People being like, oh, get ready to defend the new episode of Don Da Don, etc. And it's like, shit, it wasn't even that crazy. So I don't know if this outrage, if this has got to be worse, or at least people were expecting it. I don't know, shit. I don't really know. I don't really know what the differentiator is, but I definitely seen some people
A
have been
pretty
on
crazy
about
and
it.
controversial first chapter. Drama Queen is a new shonen manga, made by Kuraku Ichikawa, who doesn't
Okay.
have any other works that I'm familiar with. The main character, Nomonoto, has a problem, and that problem is aliens. She doesn't like them,
Aliens.
can't stand that people...
Okay. Okay, type shit. So this is basically Momo, is what we're saying. This is basically Momo. Is Momo just the main motherfucking character in this bitch? Is it just Momo? Or like, I don't know. Like, freaking aliens, they never apologize. I hope they all die. Well, that's that's one way to call about it.
Datum, can't stand them.
Hey, what? Just like I hate women who call their boyfriends their partner? I guess.
In general, and wishes they would all disappear.
That is-
a factory
that is
worker
awesome,
that
a little
gets
bit.
hit in the face a few times, and we get to see all of her unfiltered thoughts about these aliens
let me see.
that showed up 9
I wish they'd all just disappear. Sure, they saved us. Like, the aliens is on the planet type shit, and I guess I'm thankful for the new technology they gave us. But the thing is, so basically, is this like the opposite of Frieza? Like, like Frieza would be the alien. I guess you could say that hates Saiyans. And then this shorty hate the aliens. So is that the racism? Is the racism towards the aliens? Is that what we talking about here? I don't know. Shit, let's see.
years ago and are now a part of her daily life. Whatever race popped up in your mind when reading this chapter is between you and God. Yeah, this bitch, how would I describe her?
That's crazy.
It rhymes with racist. And look, to the fullest extent. Like, I showed this to my friends in Canada, and they all resonated really heavily for some reason. You can't really get away with it in a story, but she's a pretty good example of why we should all know a little less about each other. The immediate thing I want to point out with this manga is that it's about as subtle as a brick hitting glass, which might be a big turnoff for some, despite this being a clearly satirical, like...
Okay. So hold on. So basically what I'm hearing right now is the issue people have with this is her being racist towards aliens. Like, don't get me wrong, right? Like, that's not a good thing by any means. But like, we gonna act like that don't exist in other anime and manga? Like, it's not even like I would understand if it was like just straight up just racism going on rampant, right? But it's like, okay, the main character don't fuck with aliens. She's racist towards aliens. Okay. But is that the controversy? Like obviously, right? Like Master's saying here, they go like a bomb and it's like, fuck it, right? So like, you know, it's just like, who gives a fuck? I'm gonna throw this at you. You know what I'm saying? Top of the motherfucking key, basically, right? So for me, I'm just, it makes me question, like, okay, is that the problem? Like I don't know, because that's weird to me, because it's like, I feel like other things are thrown at you. Like, if it was some horny shit, I feel like motherfuckers would not really care like that. And I don't know, bro. And like you want to say right now, it's satirical. I don't know. I guess more information is needed, but let's see.
Keep in mind. Will this lack of subtlety be bad for the series as it moves forward?
I feel like it's
don't know.
not, though.
And I'm aware I don't know isn't the most satisfactory thing to hear, but it's the smartest thing I can say when something has one fucking chapter.
Fair.
He then meets the deuteragonist of the story who had his family killed in a car crash by an alien and also despises them. They bond over this hatred.
These motherfuckers bonded over racism. Okay, you know what? I'm starting to see a pattern. Okay, at first I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Let's talk some trash about aliens. The premise of this story is fuck aliens, ball up top. Is that the premise of this anime? This manga? That's crazy.
And end up making sand sculptures that they then kick around as they have fun with hatred. The chapter itself is called Who Needs Love When You Got Rage? Word on the street, this was actually ghostwritten by Scambully Reviews as an allegory of how he feels about Puerto Ricans. If you thought the chapter couldn't get any worse from there, the two then decide to team up by killing the aliens and cooking them for
Okay, you know what? I think I take back what I was saying earlier about how, oh, maybe this is just being blown out of proportion. You know what, bro? This shit. Not only does Shorty hate aliens, then dude hate aliens, then they bond over hating aliens, and now they finna go kill aliens and cook them and eat them. You know what? I see why people were upset about this, and I'm not always the person that's like all upset about everything all the time, right? I won't call myself that type of individual, but also I'm gonna call out some shit when it seems crazy. It seems kind of crazy, but also, nah, I ain't gonna lie, there's no also. This shit crazy. This shit crazy.
Food. The lack of subtlety with this first chapter while presenting a clear moral fault in these two characters has stirred up a lot of memes and discussions surrounding the series. I will say it is important to remember that it is just one chapter, however asking weekly readers to not overreact to every single chapter that comes out is impossible. I say this since I do think the series—
Cough, cough, One Piece fans, man. Let's really talk about it, bro. Let's The reason I say this is not necessarily because I'm caught up on One Piece and know what happens with, you know, the manga on a ready basis. How when there's a break, they go crazy. There's overreaction to everything. I see that, and it's very common in the world. So it makes sense.
Series could go two major ways. One, we get to see a contrast of character growth with these two. One of them learning that their hate-filled mindset, even if it is later justified by the actions of the aliens, is a poison that they cannot hold on to, while the other spirals downward, further leading into this twisted mindset that they have. A contrast of how we as people deal with hatred, leading to something confrontational and impactful for those who read it. Other manga that I have read with a dislikable and flawed main character have been some of the best main characters since they are brutally honest in the ways that are uncomfortable, leading to some fantastic redemption story or painful tragedy serving as beware. So from the all, the main character is of sunshine. That even though the subtlety has been fucking point out this, I do believe that intentional so the manga is very clear. This is not like there are no good moral graces.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And it's just like, I think as well, this could also be a product of the times we live in, right? With everyone getting on TikTok, with everyone having TikTok brains, etc. With everyone like to have something pop, you need something like this, because even with these shonen manga, you see them get asked all the time. You need popularity like that. Like if Kagura Bachi wouldn't have had a meme, you know, standpoint to it that people were able to go off of, and it became a meme, and it, you know what I'm saying, it would not be at the heights it's at now. It couldn't even be asked, right? So it's like, okay, we're looking at that. If I'm a mangaka, I'm seeing that, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm like, I gotta really put my shit on the table. I gotta put my nuts on the table. You feel me? Because otherwise, I'm gonna get cooked, because there is no time, there is no grace given to let things grow. And it's like, bro, like, that can't be the case, because it's like if that's gonna be the case, you got to do stuff like this, and that's fine. But I think that's the product of the times we live in, because this manga could very well stick around for a long stretch, longer than it ever would have if it didn't just put its fucking nuts on the table, right? And I think that's really says something. Which at the end of the day, it's just something you got to keep in mind. You know what I'm saying? Like even as a creator and things of that nature, like sometimes you just people need to see what they need to see outright, and you can't waste time. And it's like it is what it is. You could say it's unfortunate, but you just don't get the grace. And like it's tough in some instances, but like I'm just gotta roll with it. And I think this is a prime example of rolling with it. And I just yapped, but like I think that's just kind of facts, to be honest.
Should be seen as such. So that's one major way I could see this going, or it could turn out to be an awful edge fest that is fun to read for how absurdly bad it is. Maybe with some characters that are actually worth mentioning, but then the plot ends up falling apart and being a huge mess. Just something I've noticed with series that I've read.
I don't know if you're trying to diss something with that one, but
character. There are other possibilities, but those are the two main ones that I see. This is without mentioning that the aliens in the story are presented as neutral, with some speculation that a grander plan of invasion could be happening. But this could turn out to just be the lunacy of the main character.
All right, look though, hear me out, right? In this situation, I feel like what now granted, this could be cap, but like what if that is true and there is an invasion that they're planning, but no one believes them because they only look at the aliens as good, and then the invasion happens. That's another possibility. And then they're the ones like, well, shit, like, what do we do now? And they got to be the ones to make the decisions, which granted, probably isn't a good thing, because I don't know. I don't know what they're going with this shit. Like Max was saying, it's just like, bro, like it could go so many different directions. It's tough to say, really. And again, I haven't even read it, but just based on what he's saying right now and the controversy that I'm seeing, maybe I will have to read and kind of come back to it. But it's interesting.
And hence the title of the series. Still, the idea of one of the characters getting better is a little hard, even though I propose that possibility, since the bar has been set at murder and then eating them. At least Frieza dealt with the Saiyans in one swift. I doubt the series will get less violent from here. The deuteragonist is made somewhat sympathetic by stating he lost his family, but the chick is given no other qualities than rotten. Not saying that down the line that won't change, but this doesn't feel like a revenge story of some sorts, that it feels like it needed to justify the reason why the main character is the way that she is. It feels more like Uncle Ruckus was the editor for that.
It does look like that though. Like, the fuck is that thing? Like, what is that? Like, dead ass, what the fuck is that, bro? Like, what? And like, I don't know, bro. Cause like, I don't know if you give something like this a benefit of the doubt, it's just like, fuck it. Cause the fucking killing the aliens and eating them is actually insane. Like, Mass was joking about the freezer shit, but yeah.
Potential vehicle for something more, while I'm sure many others simply like it because it's offensive. If the goal was to create a first chapter that grabbed the attention of readers and gained publicity, it for sure succeeded, since I would argue it's better for a story to be controversial, opening a book for discussion, than to be boring and something we are all indifferent towards since we've seen it a million times. Especially in today's Shonen Jump, where it seems the magazine has no patience to let a series grow.
He literally disagreed. He literally just said exactly what I was saying earlier, because it's facts. It's just true, bro. And that, like that, I feel like that's gonna keep happening as we continue to see more manga come out. They're gonna have to continue to be crazy. Like you see Don the Don. Like if that didn't have as crazy of an opening as it does, would that be as popular as it has got it? Kagurabashi? Like it's a lot of them that's like this at this point. I feel like, granted, I haven't like seen every Shonen Jump manga. I don't really read manga, but I'm seeing the trend.
To make an immediate impact almost seems mandatory. Kagurabachi was a meme that exploded and caught the eye that
way. Bro, you know what, bro? You earned a like on this one, my dog. My dog, am I sub? I might not be. I am, okay. I was going to say. But nah, bro, you earned a like on this one. Cause we was literally agreeing on damn near everything. That's tough.
Seems pretty beloved. Dandadan also had an absurd first chapter, and
No, we all got the same brain, bro. There's no way I just said the same exact shit about Kagurabachi and Nandanai. And here we are, bro. That's actually so funny, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That's crazy. That's crazy.
a frequent issue is whenever an author depicts a form of evil that isn't just murder for murdering's sakes, people seem to accuse the author or act like the author is endorsing instead of depicting. This is very case by case, and we're going to have to wait and see what the author does with this, especially since he already had the characters not only express this flawed mentality, but act upon it in the worst way possible. But I have seen some pretty messed up.
Okay, the one of the things is that just came to my mind. It is pretty hard for me to believe that someone who would actually present these attributes could make something like this, because it feels like it knows what it's doing so much to the point where it's so self-aware. Like there's no way bro or girl, whatever, could be writing this, right, and not be like, okay, I know they racist, I know this is wrong as fuck, but like I'm gonna write my story, you know what I'm saying? It seems very self-aware, and obviously like satirical in a way, to the point where it's like, I can't see this being one of the cases where it's not going to build on something. I don't think it could be something edgy just for being edgy. But again, I haven't read it. I'm saying all this without reading this shit. But that's what I'm feeling. I don't know.
Characters worth exploring, and even though they don't serve as heroic inspiration, they serve as warning signs, or eventually they do serve as inspirations, showing the worst of the worst can change for the better. So can you, so can anybody. It's a dangerous game to play, as certain stories lean into messed up characters, and watching their character arc is sometimes some of the most impactful things ever, as I've said. But you run the risk of people not being able to care for your protagonist since they have no redeeming qualities. A criticism thrown at Fuji.
Now look, I agree with this to an extent, because the thing is like, I don't really care about Denji, but I don't even think that's because of the redeeming qualities thing. I just think if you're going to make a character without redeeming qualities, they have to be a character that has more oomph to them to make you care about the story in some attribute that they have. Even if it's not redeeming, if you give them some type of backstory where it's like, okay, I can see how they could develop. I mean, you could say that's redeeming, but it isn't always, you know what I'm saying? So like either that, you give them like a cool factor, you give them, certain things, certain oomph that, like, if they're more morals and moral compass and stuff like that is just very flawed and you can't get behind them, then you have something to kind of hold on to, or you have a way that you can at least kind of attach to them as a character. And maybe that's what he's saying in terms of that. Like there isn't any, right? I'm kind of going to the aspect that it's the morals. But if there really isn't any, you end up in a situation where I don't give a fuck about any chance on their characters like that. Do none of them have redeeming qualities? That's not necessarily true, but it is what it is.
Style of writing. Another big example is Mushoku Tensei, something I'm yet to watch or read, but I tend to hear opposing opinions on whether it's a good series or not. Drama Queen, from the jump, pun totally intended, has thrown itself into this dilemma, with the pro that it now has a lot of eyes on it, impatiently eager to see its next step. The con being that it now has a lot of eyes on it, impatiently eager to see its next step, which will heavily determine the reputation of the series, regardless if that reputation proves accurate as the story develops.
It's crazy. I know it may be me, right? If it's me, it's me. But it looks so outrageous. Like, what? You know what you're doing. Am I bugging? I don't know. Maybe I'm bugging. Maybe I'm bugging.
Proves accurate as the story develops. I believe an author shouldn't be limited in portraying things for the sake of story. Again, for the sake of the story, unlike those random bonus pages in Made in Abyss. Don't look it up. As having it there for people to either gain some.
Is there something I don't know? The fuck Made in Abyss got going on? I ain't read the manga. What the fuck Made in Abyss got going on? I don't know if I want to look it up. What the
value
fuck?
from it or critique it as an example of what not to do serves a better purpose than saying it just shouldn't exist. I also firmly believe in if you don't want to read it, you are in your complete right to do so. I know it's a lot of talk beyond just this series, but there isn't much I can say about this first chapter outside of it admittedly was interesting. It caught my attention while leaving me with a lot of questions I want to see answered. I prefer leaving the first chapter having a lot of questions instead of feeling like I'm having a bad case of deja vu. For anyone, however,
man, I appreciate you coming through. And if y'all want to be in the streams, go join up to Twitch. I'm gonna be streaming on the pod Twitch, man. The Flowman Podcast on Twitch. Tap in. Link will be in the description. You know what I'm saying? Come through, bro, because we finna be getting lit over here, man.
Demons of Destruction, I'm not doing the stutter, is a fantastic read. But yeah, as for Drama Queen, I'd be lying if I didn't say it was interesting. I hope that I've been fair in my assessment of this first chapter and the discussion surrounding it, but as always, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. This has been The Masked Man.
Without reading,
have a blessed rest of the day, and peace.
Yeah, no, man, I think W video, man, just like that. With y'all, I don't know what it is about this manga, but I definitely understand a lot of his points in this video. Obviously, like I was saying as well, like it's one of those things where you kind of have to almost have, like a banging first chapter that's going to throw people off completely and stuff like that. Because it's like, otherwise you have run the risk of getting axed. Because Shonen Jump does not play, but they're finna axe their manga. They don't play games. If you don't knock it out the park right away, you're cooked. Like Mass also said, you don't have to read that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you don't fuck with the concept, then just, you don't gotta read it. Is it controversial? Yes. But at the end of the day, right, so I don't believe that you can just chalk it up to it's a story all the time. There are some moments where you gotta be like, okay, we can't do this. Nah, cut it off. But to me at least, it doesn't sound like that's the case with this one. It just sounds like, okay, we're gonna try to do something. It's satirical, clearly very self-aware. It's very, type shit, very racist, whatever. But like at the end of the day, the thing is that it kind of needed to throw his nuts on the table, you know what I'm saying? And it did. But yeah, I guess we'll see. Maybe I'll tap in. Maybe I'll have to read it. I am curious to hear more about it as it continues to go on. Will the controversy continue? Will it die down? You know what I'm saying? I might have to tap in. Let me know what y'all think about this manga in the comments. Let me know if y'all are tapping in. Let me know if y'all are curious or y'all like, nah, like this is cooked. Absolutely not. Make sure to like, subscribe. We're trying to hit 100 subs soon.